I have one of my sports experts when it comes to baseball, Elijah Ovadia. Did I do that right?
Ovadia.
Ovadia. Okay, because you're gonna be around a while. You're a Yankee fan.
No, I'm a Mets fan.
You're a Mets fan. Okay, okay. You're a baseball guy.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay. What do you think about your chances going to Atlanta? Can you get over that mental hump?
I'm so going into Atlanta.
Yeah, just getting over the mental hump of losing to the Braves a lot, having to go to Atlanta after a storm, because you guys are playing really good.
Well, they didn't do too hot that first game. That first game was a little rough.
Mm,
I couldn't watch. It was just disgusting. Vientos is really the only offense we had that game, and the last time we made the playoffs, we got swept by the Braves in that last series, which I'm really hoping history doesn't repeat itself.
mm.
But
Yeah, the Mets historically is weird. Whenever they're the underdogs, they're dangerous. Whenever they're the favorites, it turns into kind of a mess. Like 205 against the Cardinals, 015 against the Royals, you were the favorite. But then when you're underdog, you go back to 69, you go back to
86.
86. Yeah, you were down because you were down 2-0. You go back to you've always beaten the Dodgers except when you were the favorites, when Hershiser went crazy. And that's the Dodgers have to get over that mental hump of the Mets. You guys have to get the mental hump of the Braves. It's always about the matchup.
Well, with the Dodgers recently, at least recently, like
Mm-hmm.
always struggle on the road over there. Last season we struggled. Scherzer, that's when Scherzer just forget. That's when his career ended, right there, basically. And that
Yeah.
pitch clock, that was it. After that, he was a shell of himself. It hasn't been the same. I think that series is pivotal to this like Mets downfall from last year, and then the start of this season. I think that is like the moment where everything shifted.
So you're saying when did this shift? Because you guys were struggling this year. When did this shift occur where you were good enough to be a playoff contender?
I think like when we started, I like to become a true contender. It was I'd say you can't really say around the All Star break because we were still what 5 games out. We were pretty far out. I think August, like early August, and then we like late into August, mid August, we came in, and then the Braves just went on the streak of just losing, losing, losing. They couldn't stop, and that's really where we came around.
I forgot all about this guy, but this Chris Sale guy, he's a pain in the neck because I know he won with Boston, and he's a pain in the neck because they lost Acuna and they haven't lost a beat. It's just the culture. They're always in it. They don't always win, but they're always in. Their problem is the Phillies own them.
Oh well, everyone in the playoffs owns the Braves. It doesn't matter who you name it. Anyone in the playoffs. You can beat the Dodgers, you can beat the Braves, and I guess if your name's the Diamondbacks, you can beat the Phillies still. So you
Yeah,
know,
yeah. You're down 4-0 to the Brewers. I think the Brewers are trying to fight for that second spot in the playoffs because they're gonna want to play this out. So you got to hope the Braves lose a couple.
wait, they're
Um,
down right now. They're down.
the Braves are winning 2-0 against Kansas City, and the Mets are losing 4-0 at the end of the first inning against
Yeah,
the Brewers.
I just had the game on. Oh,
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
knew that would happen when they walked Adamas. I knew it. And now, Mania is going to be a shell of himself, because that's just
Oh,
how
your dad's a Yankee fan. If you don't make it, will you catch it from him?
I, I don't get the scores from him usually. I have the MLB app, so I'm usually getting everything from there. I'm getting things from Instagram, Twitter. I'm getting
Okay. Yeah, I know, because you're the baseball guy. Um, I was just, the 86 Mets are going to be at Woodbridge Brewery. I'm trying to get there to get a press credential for all three of us to
ooh,
go. So you can meet Strawberry and all those guys.
I, I need to
I'm
go.
working, I'm working on it because I know the owner. So I'm trying to work on that so I could get that in there. Um, what do you think about the National League? Because normally the Dodgers said they ain't gonna make it, but Otani is desperate. He's never been on this stage, and he could be that guy. Like in the NBA, Boston got Porzingis, and that was the one guy that finally got him a hump when they kept losing all the time in the playoffs. So I don't know if that's the guy because their pitching is. I had a guy who covered the Dodgers. He's your age. He's a version of you from LA. I had him on my show, so we were breaking everything down. He was really good. Um, but they have to get home field because you don't want to go to what's the ballpark name in Philadelphia?
Philadelphia Citizens Bank.
Citizens Bank. You don't want to go in that little bandbox in 6 and 7. You don't have a prayer. Now, Phillies can go to Dodgers and win, but Dodgers can't go to Philadelphia in that little park with Bryce Harper and those dudes in that crazy atmosphere. Those fans are bonkers. I covered a Sixer game, and those Philadelphia people are bonkers. I hope you haven't gone to Philly with the Met stuff on.
Yeah. I don't get to go to too many games. I've gone to a Subway Series last summer. Met
Uh-huh.
destroyed, and I that's the last game I went to that I can remember. Um, I don't get to go to many games, but I'm usually watching them. But with that Dodgers thing, I think if they went to Philly with like their actual roster and like their pitching with that's not hurt, if they're healthy, I think they could go to at least like a game five. They're in the DS, and if they're in the pennant, they can go to a game seven. I think it's really close down there because
Mhm.
you have look at the stat. You have Glass now. If Otani's healthy, you're not touching Otani. You're
No.
not touching him. You got a healthy Kershaw. You're not touching. I'm forgetting. So, Yamamoto. You're not touching. Like you just have continuous. After that, you have like guys who
They
come up.
they picked up a good closer in a trade deadline. He stabilized the ninth inning, which is huge. I think the most important thing you got to have when it comes to baseball, the Alonso type of home run hitter. You got to have that hitter for average, contact hitters in the lineup, and then that wild card that hasn't done nothing all year that just catches fire. Number one starter, number one A starter, number three who's solid, and then a middle and a closer who catches fire late because closers and relievers are a dime a dozen sometimes. But if you get a guy, you get a closer that's stabilized, you're good. How is your middle and closing right now as a Met fan?
Oh, that's you have in the middle, which is actually our safest bet right now. You have Reed Garrett. He's been on and off. He gets shelled once in a while, but he's been steady. He's been steady. When they bring in Danny Young, the game's over. We lose. It doesn't matter. Phil Matton's been better. I've seen he had a rough first game, and then he settled. Um, Diaz has been so hit or miss. Lately, he's been better, but oh my God, you can't even you just can't.
What happened? I remember he come in. They had the Mexican song. I'm a lousy Cub fan. I would get goosebumps watching them come in with the Mets, and they had that chemistry that year.
They do. I think it's because of the injury.
The injury, okay.
It always is. I mean, his brother's been hurt, but no, his brother wasn't hurt. His brother's been shelled as well this year in Cincy. Um, yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's just like they decided to both suck this year. I really don't know. There's no real argument for Alexis Diaz why he's been so terrible. I mean, maybe it's the ballpark you could say, but I don't. I don't think that could be it. I think they just, it just happens, I guess. Because with baseball, it's so unpredictable. You
Yes.
anything. No advanced statistic you can tell that this person's going to be good. It doesn't happen. Lindor should have had the most abysmal season by his advanced metrics. But look at him, MVP possibly.
Yeah, he came back. He really rebounded. Because sometimes I ain't gonna lie, sometimes you get some of these former players on the Mets, Alomar and Eddie Murray, and a lot of them guys, and it doesn't pan out. You get them when they're too old, but this one turns out to be a good signing.
Yeah, I'm not too set on the years for yet. I don't think he's going to age too well. I think by
Okay.
35, 36, he'll be tapped out. But my thing is right now is how are you going to keep your core? I mean, you locked up Lindor, you locked up McNeil, you locked up Nimmo. What's for Alonso? I mean, he's put up great season after great season, but now he's like, not great. But you could argue he's had a way better career than McNeil. Well, you can't argue it. It's simple. He's had a better career than Nimmo, or not Nimmo, McNeil. Could say Nimmo too. It, you need to lock him up. He should
Yeah.
have, and I think this is going to be a Conforto situation where Conforto got the big deal,
Yep.
declined, got hurt, and then just stumbled into nothing, and now he's nobody. I'm really hoping that's not the case here because I'm wearing a Alonso jersey right now.
Mhm.
He's my favorite player. You got a million jerseys in my closet of him. I got a poster of him on my wall. Like I can't see him in another jersey.
I hope so. Listen, as far as jerseys, the pinstripe version of with the Mets, that's the best jersey. Don't change, don't
Oh,
tinker around with perfection. I loved that jersey.
it's the original blackouts that they brought back a couple years ago, not the new ones from this year that they screwed with.
Mhm.
Well, the original blackout that they brought back for the Blackout Fridays in 2022. Those are the best jerseys. I mean, City Connect's great,
Mhm.
but you can't come. No, the black jerseys, the blackout jerseys, they're amazing.
I tell you what, and there's gonna be days if the Mets get in, I'll come down there and watch it with you. The Mets, I'm telling you, the Mets get in, they're the most dangerous underdog, and they're very. I know something. They have a huge home field advantage when the playoffs start. It just seems like that crowd intimidates the.
You're
Because
complete.
I just remember 215. I know
Well,
you lost against the Giants next year.
but no, no, because look at that Padres here. Scherzer, 8 runs.
You know what? I forgot about that. That's right. You're right. You're right.
Game two, you can give that to the home crowd, but that's just the ground being great. That's the ground being great. Shut out. But again, we only had one run. God forbid the Grom decides to let up one run. The game's over and we lose from the bullpen. Game three, shelled again. Forget it. No, the Padres owned us in that series. I couldn't watch it because I knew after game one that we were tapped out. We should have been that year. That year we should have at least been a pennant team.
Yes, definitely, definitely. So, what do you think about your chances? You're down 4-0. You got a couple more games on the week. Maybe you can come back. It's the first inning. What do you think about your chance of getting in?
Getting in right now, I think
Mm,
if this team can heat up like they were a couple weeks ago and not slump like they are right now, because they're slumped. They're slumped. That Braves loss was pretty rough, and then they were
mm.
they were on and off with the Braves, and like just their other series, they were winning, but the Braves were also winning and losing at the same time. So what are you gonna do?
You never know. Listen, I want to tell you something. You are freaking good. I'm gonna let you go. You did a terrific job. We're gonna do this when the playoffs come. I'm gonna come down there and eat all your father's good cooking too.
Yeah, he's a great cook.
He sure is.